All right, we're going to call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Present are council members Floyd, Cost, Marmee, and sitting in for Bub and Frazier are Roletta and Hall. First item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $2,664.24.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. As you may know, the Division of Fire provides dedicated EMS service to the annual fireworks celebration on campus. Chief Connor paid those additional salaries money. Folks at campus were kind enough to write a check. It's my understanding it got deposited in the General Treasury. We're seeking approval to put it back in Chief Connor's budget.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Floyd, second by Roletta. And just to let everybody know, that's the only way you can bring money into the city is directly through a general fund, and now we have to move it. So, any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes
Mr. Chair.
5-0. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I know you wanted to wrap this up real quick, but I had a question. When last week when you discussed the income tax and you voted on it to put it on the ballot, there's a lot of people that are questioning the license plate tax or the license plate fee that was issued a few years ago. Is there some place to be found to answer people's questions about what that does, what percentage the city gets? Where it goes?
It's not a percentage, it's a flat amount. It's
Okay.
$20 per
Okay.
license plate, and it goes for anything dealing with, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, roads, bridges, infrastructure of any of that kind. It has to be categorized into that.
Okay.
And specifically, it can't go into salaries, can't go into other departments. It has to be used
So it's specifically earmarked for that.
Correct.
And now, last question. Do you know how much it was last year?
No, ma'am.
Where do we find that
Actually, the auditor's office would know exactly.
Okay.
We budgeted a certain amount, but yet how much ends up coming in, we don't know how many people are going to buy license plates in any given
Sure,
year.
sure.
So, yeah.
Understood.
Do you have a ballpark, Brian?
The total amount's about 700,000.
Yeah.
A little bit north of 700,000.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. All right. And
Street's next.
Street is next.
Okay, calling this meeting of the Street Committee to order. Members present are Hull, Blake, Raff, Roletta, Mr. Cost for Mr. Johnson, Marmee, and Floyd. Okay, Brian, you got the floor.
Thank you. We've had 4 recent requests for alley vacations, and as we've been doing recently, I sent out email to all the different city departments that are involved with reviewing our site plans and so forth, to ask for any comments and concerns of the vacations before we move them forward with a formal petition and legislation before council. So I wanted to let you know where these stand at this point, and is there any particular order you'd like me to take them in? Or?
No, I don't really care. Whatever.
Okay. The first one on East Main Street is between Dormar Heating and Cooling and Johnson's Appliance store there. They've been having a lot of vandalism back through there, and they would like to close that off. And basically I got emails back from fire prevention and from the police department. Police division has no objections with that. Fire department, fire prevention has no objections with that one. So if no other comments on that, I will move that one forward and create legislation and bring it back to you to move that one forward for the vacation. So.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is the one on South Pine Street. That is a request that came in from the Ohio History Connection. They are in the process of purchasing those lots between where the alley is and State Route 79 at the south end of Pine Street. They are not sure they want to vacate it. They think they want to vacate it. We'll have more dialogue with them, but there is a part of one of the ancient mounds that crosses that area, and in the future they would like to recreate that mound. But anyhow, there are no objections from neither the police or fire on that one if they choose to move forward with the vacation of it.
Okay, any questions?
Madam Chair, Brian, if I'm remembering correctly, wasn't this the neighborhood that had the TCE? So was there any concerns of needing that to be remaining for possible testing of soil or anything in the future?
I don't believe so. I think that would be in the deal that ODOT, actually State of Ohio, owns those properties now, where the houses were that were taken. So they are working with the Ohio Historic Connection to work out some sort of transfer in that land. I think there will probably be easements and so forth to allow whatever testing needs to be done, allow them to get back in there to do that. But the transfer of the land, I think, will be completed from one state agency to the other.
Okay, Ms. Hall?
Yeah, I basically had the same question, but I wanted to know if these houses were sold. They were the houses that had the toxic basement, toxic fumes coming up to them. So how could they do an Indian Mound recreation area? I mean, who would have to test that soil, and
Well, I think
how would you get that information?
that's probably a better question for the folks at the Ohio History Connection, and I can have them come in if they want to pursue the vacation further on that one, and we can ask their questions of them, because I don't know what the deal is with them on the transfer of the land.
Do you know if it was ever cleaned up or addressed? I mean, do they still test?
It's an ongoing thing.
Ongoing.
It's going to take years and years, but yeah, there's still the reason they purchased those houses was to get rid of the possible liability of any damage in the basements and that sort of thing, air quality.
I'd like a little more information later, if possible.
If they choose to move forward, I'll ask them to come in and speak to you about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, number 3.
Number 3 is the alley vacation on Grant Street. Marshall and Linda Hoy own the properties at 172 Grant Street, and they've talked to the owner at 180. And this dead-end alley just is between their two properties, so they would like to vacate that. Again, no objections from neither the police nor fire department on that one.
Any
So I'd like to
questions?
move that one forward also.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is the proposed vacation on Steele Avenue. This is off of, just east of 30th Street, runs south off of Steele Avenue. Police department had no objections, but fire prevention did. They object to vacating the alley as the alley does provide fire access to the rear of the commercial buildings there. So they are opposed to moving forward with the vacation of that. So I would contact the requester back and tell them that fire prevention is not in favor of it, and my intent would be not to move this one in further anymore. So.
Yeah, that sort of makes sense. Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Marley?
Did they say which one? I mean, the one has a parking lot. I mean, so what further access? Is it the other one? And then are they able to get through that, or is it just a yard?
It's an alley all the way through, running north to south.
Okay.
Sort of a gravel in some parts of it. The property owner at 144 at the south end of it was the one that requested the vacation.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's the 143 that they can't get to?
It's for access to 143, and then the Sainer Center, the commercial building, kind of on the northern part of that block there, the rear of that building.
Yeah, well, that's all parking lot.
There is some parking back behind there, yes.
I mean, it would just be all basically turned into all parking, is what? Because that's just a parking lot on the one side, then the alley, and then some additional parking.
Yeah, there's cars parked behind the
Right.
the building
The
here.
building itself, okay. I was just curious because I saw where it looks like some of those properties, and I don't know, I don't see a number on it, but right where like 136 is, if it were those, then I could understand, but I just didn't know if it was a large commercial one or 143. I didn't know which.
Yeah, I think it's both of the properties at 126, 122, 124, and 143.
Okay.
Brian wants to know.
Yeah, Director Spurgeon might want to
Madam
speak to
Chair,
that.
please, the committee, Brian's right. So we're talking about the Sainer Center, and I'll point your attention to the southeastern portion of that. What you're not seeing, or maybe you are seeing, is the parking lot and the 143 building. That's a commercial enterprise, but there's an 8-foot chain link fence on there as well, which restricts access. Being commercial properties, we got to dump a bunch of water, when we can't do that by dragging hose. The residential property where you see the trailers in, we can get that from the street, just dragging 2.5-inch lines. But those ones, we need access to get the big trucks in there.
Okay, thank you. And anything else? Any other comments?
That's it for now, so at the next street committee meeting, I will prepare a resolution of intent for those other three and move those forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
And with that, the street committee is adjourned, and service is next.
All right, we'll call the Service Committee meeting to order. Those present are myself, Rath, Cost, Frazier, Floyd, and Marmee sitting in for Bub. First is Ordinance 16-31, establishing a backflow prevention program within the City of Newark and establishes uniform regulations for the protection of public health in conformity with all applicable laws.
Yeah, just a little brief history, I guess. We do have a backflow prevention program within the city of Newark, but in the late 1980s and then in 1990, as you most of you recall, we had a city health department. And at that time, when these regulations from the state of Ohio came out, the decision was made to allow the health department to run the backflow prevention program because they had plumbing inspectors, and that was a decision back then. And they've done it since then. And this is not a reflection of a bad job that the health department's doing. This ordinance is for us because we feel like we need more control over our backflow prevention program, and so we can do some audits of our own and keep track of the data ourselves. Of course, the county, the city health department is gone now. It's the county health department, and we feel like we just don't have as much information from them as we should. Again, I'm not reflecting that they're doing a bad job. It's just that we think we can do a little bit more of auditing and doing some things a little bit differently. So the ordinance that's before you is basically right out of the Ohio EPA, Ohio Revised Code regulations for how you run a backflow prevention program. I should say also that most other cities run their own backflow prevention programs. City of Heath, Southwest Licking, all these other water divisions run their own backflow prevention program. We were a little bit different in that the health department ran ours. Not that that's, there are other cities around that do that, but it's unusual. So we're proposing that we take that back, and the way we have to do that is we have to have an ordinance within the city, because the regulations right now are a rules and regulations within the county health department. They were established back then, and when it transferred all the rules and regulations from the city health department went to the county health department. We don't have an ordinance on the books to cover the backflow prevention program. And so basically this is just a replication of the Ohio Revised Code and a few little things we put in there to reference our specific situations. So and so we're proposing, we have that ordinance in place, and we're proposing by the end of this year that we take over that program. And I say we take over, it's really our program, and we really should be running it, and we feel more comfortable running it. So, but we propose that by the end of the year we'll be running that program ourselves. So
So if I understand this correctly, the program consists of periodic testing and monitoring.
Most places are required to have an annual inspection of their backflow prevention devices. It amounts to a form being sent out to the company. The company hires a firm to come out, a plumbing firm to come out and do the inspection. There are people that are certified to do these inspections. We have 2 people that are certified to do inspections on staff already. We have a number of backflow devices within our department anyway, but we have 2 people that are certified currently to do this work. We're proposing we'll probably get a couple more people just to cover ourselves and cover vacations and those kind of things. But so a form goes out, the company comes in and does the inspection. Most companies pay they'll pay a plumbing company to come out and do that, and then the company pays for the fee. The fee I think currently is $28 with the county, and we'll have to establish a fee for that within the city. We'll be at $28 or $30, similar kind of fee. I don't know exactly what that fee is going to be, but it won't be any higher than what it earned. If it's maybe a buck or two higher, possibly, but it'll be similar to what the county's fee is currently. So
The fee's paid by who?
the fee would be paid by the firms that have the backflow prevention device. It pays for the paperwork to get done to inspect that and make sure it's operating properly. It's an important thing for us to have proper backflow devices. We don't want stuff getting back in, especially at commercial sites.
Won't argue with you there at all.
Yeah, and so it's pretty important for us. So and so what we would like to do is we would like to do more audits of our system, and just have a little bit better control over the backflow system. So or the backflow devices within our system. So.
Any questions from committee members? Mr. Marmee?
So this does not apply to residential because we have a code that they have to have backflows if they're new construction.
We have a small regulation within our rules and regulations that say you have to have a backflow device on a residential property,
Right.
a double check system. This is an expansion of that to cover all the rules and regulations. Certainly this would apply to residentials as well, but residential is a very small
But
portion.
we're not going to, it's not going to be mandated that they have an annual inspection, is it?
No. Small double check valves in residential homes cannot be tested. These are big
Right.
testable checks. What you do when you go out, they're pressure reducing backflow prevention devices. You got to put pressure gauges on either side of it. You got to test that, make sure it actually works properly, that kind of thing. The small double check valves that you're required in your house are not testable, and we won't be sending out 46,000 or
Right.
20,000.
Just double check.
Yeah. It's for we got 1,600 of these within the city. Most places, big industrial sites would have 4 or 5 backflow devices, depending on what processes they have. So,
If I don't have this backflow device at my house right now, is this going to change that requirement? Am I going to be required to
you
rectify?
should have it at your house. It's very difficult for us to go check every house, and there's a lot of older homes that plumbing hasn't been changed. But when plumbing gets updated in your house, and then you're required to update and put a backflow device in. Is basically how they operate.
At what point in time did backflow devices begin to be used?
Well, the regulation came out in the 1980s, late 80s. Backflow devices have been used for 40, 50 years. I mean, they're not. But the requirement to have them in certain places happened in the late 80s. So.
Okay. Any other questions from committee members? Any questions from the audience?
Make a motion.
Motion by Floyd, seconded by Frazier. Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. And that concludes the Service Committee meeting, as well as all committee meetings for the evening.